Hi, sorry. Hi, BookTube. Welcome to Jackie Literary Corner. And I made a decision last night. For the first time ever, I'm going to participate in the magical readathon created by the Book Roast. This is essentially a Harry Potter related readathon where we take the Harry Potter OWL exams, and then later in the year, maybe a few months later, we take the NEWTs as well. And what the Book Rose has done is she created a guideline of different professions you can have, and then you read and of course each profession has certain subjects you take for the OWLs and the NEWTs, and you read a book for each one. And I believe you have to only read one book. You can't double up on this, and you cannot double up on this one like you can with other prompts. And I just thought last night, you know what? I've always wanted to do this one. I just thought I might not be able to handle it. It would be too much because I know I'm a bit slower of a reader. Although I've gotten better and I'm more into prioritizing reading books. I mean, I still watch a lot of TV and watch a lot of BookTube and other YouTube, and do a lot of other internet related things. And it's probably good timing because now I have stopped doing role play, which took up a lot of my time. And the problem is, as fun as that is, first of all, I'm depending on other people. As I told Terry, who was my role play partner most of the time, I would be depending on other people. And then I always felt like, because most of the time I only role play with her, we focus so much on the romantic relationship drama that it just got boring after a while. And then it's hard to get into role playing any other show now that, because for the longest time I was only doing Once Upon a Time roleplay, and then I started doing a little bit of Gotham roleplay, but I was always apprehensive about doing any other shows. But anyway, like I said, it's a good time because now I'm more focused on my reading now and reading a lot more. But like I said, I still watch a lot of TV and movies and go on the internet a lot. But I try to devote a few hours out of my day, like twice a day, on reading, except for I was gonna say school. I'm not in school anymore. During work days, it's a little harder because it's hard to manage my time and figure out, okay, what do I want to do during the few hours before I have to go in. And then I also, I always make myself sandwiches as a snack for my break. And then, I want to eat breakfast because I'm not one of those people who can skip breakfast. I can't do that. I do not like skipping breakfast because you need to start your day with some food that will give you energy. Preferably something a little more preferably something as healthy as you can get. Although this is coming from a girl who eats waffles and pancakes or toaster strudels for breakfast. But and then there's there's BookTube videos. I want to go through my notifications and watch those BookTube videos, all my that I've been notified about, and I go through each one. So it's trying to make sure I'm always fighting with myself to be like, do I want to do that or do I want to get some reading done? And then I don't have a lot, and even though I bring a book with me to work, you guys know I don't get a lot of time during my break to read. I only can maybe get through like a page unless I get dropped off early or I'm waiting to be picked up because I can't drive. But anyway, I decided to do the readathon, and the one I chose was I think would be a surprise to people like some of my best friends, like Terry and Larissa. They would think I would choose the job like the librarian or a bookseller or like works like collecting magical tomes or, like I said, or a writer. And really, I didn't want to do that because it's what I want to do in real life. But first of all, this is for fun. This is a fun reading thing. And if you're in a magical world, do you really, I mean, and for me, if I'm in a magical world, I don't want to just do something like sitting at a bookshop, or sitting in a classroom teaching people and lecturing people about magic. I want to do something where I'm actually like going on some adventure, or having like as close to adventure as I can get. And again, it's also easy to say this because it's not real. It's just you're having fun, and it's just you're not actually doing the job. You're not actually applying for the job or studying to do that profession. You're just reading books that are related to the classes you need to take for that profession. So I picked the Magologist. I don't know what it is. I think it's what I think it's the same job that I can't think of it. The latest movie, Harry Potter related movie, or the one that everybody's not happy about, other than Cursed Child. What is it? Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. That one. And what the main kid, the main guy in that one. I think this is what he does for a living. And I just think it'd be fun to work with magical creatures and go searching for them. So the prompts for that one are the class you need to take for that one. You need to have a care of magical creatures, charms, herbology, and potions. I'm still writing it. I still gotta write it down. And this is a readathon that goes through all April, so I have plenty of time. So the first book for care magical creatures, you need the prompt is hippogriff creature, a book with a beak on the cover, which I had a little trouble with this one because I don't read a lot. I apparently don't have a lot of books with birds on them, with beaks. And I wish that I had the hardback version of Once Upon a River, because that one I think has a swan on it. But I only have the paperback, so I ended up I actually noticed this one, Woven in Moonlight. This is one that I was inspired to check out and buy from Books A Million, buy Olive from Book Olive. But the way she talked about it, it got me really intrigued by it. And I love listening to her reviews. She's so eloquent. She speaks so eloquently in her reviews. She gets me even excited. I'm still learning, still trying to get into nonfiction. And the way she reviews nonfiction books, it gets me very interested. Even if it's something I would normally not be interested in, the way she talks about them makes me interested. And she was the review I watched when that motivated me to get this one. And so as you can see, there are some birds. There's an owl right there, and owls have beaks. And then there's this type of bird. I don't know what this bird is, but it's a story about this young girl who she has the magic to weave moonlight into tapestries that I think they predict the future or something. They show you the future or something like that. It has been a long time since I looked at her review or anyone else's reviews. I haven't even read the back of the inside flap lately, so I don't remember. And she is actually a body double for the Condessa of her world, and essentially the guy from another country, or I don't know what it would be, another country is like, I want to marry the Condessa, and she goes in the true Condessa's place to find out what's really going on, if they can trust this guy, if this marriage is worth it, and stuff like that. And she ends up weaving, I remember, her power has to do with like weaving messages in moonlight on tapestry, something like that. So it has nothing to do with cognitive powers. It's actually she can weave messages via moonlight into tapestries. And so she is weaving while she's undercover doing this, meeting this guy who wants to marry the Condessa. She is sending messages to the rebels, or something like that. as you can tell, it has been a while since I've heard what this book is about. But like I said, this involves you have at least 2 birds with beaks on it, 2 birds on the cover. So I thought, it's the best option. And I was trying to look into the books that I have here on the floor that I still have not put away yet. But I was kind of waiting because I knew I would have off this weekend. So I was waiting until that to go to put my books back and stuff like that. Okay, so that is the one I'm reading for the Care Magical Creatures prompt. Woven in Moonlight. Okay, so next prompt is Charms Lumus Maximus, which that's basically the flashlight charm. That basically turns your wand into a flashlight. And that prompt is you pick a book with a white cover. Although I think they would go more yellow. I would think that they would go yellow, but I guess light can be white too. And it rhymes, light and white. And I decided I need to go ahead. I have been arguing with myself about this book, about should I just get rid of these 2 books and not read the last book, or do I read this book in this trilogy and then read the last book? And I've been debating this for arguing with myself, because it's like I haven't had the desire to read it, but every time people talk about it, then I'm like, I feel like, oh, I need to read that book. It drives me crazy when there's a book I finally decided to donate and walk away from, and then all of a sudden someone coincidentally, when I pick a booktube video where someone is talking about how much they love the book, and it's like, why did you have to talk about that book right in that moment? Why can't you talk about the book when I already get rid of it? And it's, I know no one is forcing me to read any of these books, but it's just so hard because you end up feeling like I'm someone who will feel like hesitant and struggles with donating books and making decisions on books I need to get rid of. But the one for the white cover prompt, the Lumus Maximus, I need to read God's Grave, the second book in the Nevernight trilogy, about the girl who becomes an assassin so she can get revenge for her family who were killed by the government, because her dad was accused of treason. And she goes to assassin school and everything, and so it was either gonna be this one or Valor. Although looking at Valor from this angle, I have it on the floor still, like I said, I haven't put the books back. This one is more white than that one, because Valor has a lot of that yellowish green color on it, more of that than white. I mean, it's still probably gonna work, and like I said, if I don't do these exactly, I don't think, if I only get like close enough or adjacent to that prompt, I don't think the book roast or anyone else is gonna come after me about that. So, but I ended up picking this one, but like I said, I ended up picking this one, which has more white on it. White with a little bit of red and black. I think these covers are really cool. Like, even though I'm one of those people that does agree that real people on covers is not an ideal cover choice, I like this one. I mean, she doesn't look like a real person. She doesn't look like a photograph person. She looks like a drawing. And it's really cool. First, I like the typography of the title and the author's last name with the red, and then I like the image of our main character, Mia on here with the bloody knives or daggers or swords or whatever, double swords and all, and then she's wearing like this red fur-lined cloak with this black shadow, because she's this power of controlling shadows. I think it's so I think the cover is so cool. These are the covers for these books. I don't remember what the cover for book 3 is. I don't even remember what book 3 is called. Anyway, and I like the first book. I had a good time with it. It's just, like I said, it had been so long since I read it. It was like, debate, am I still interested in it? Which that's always a war I have going on in my head, because there's so many books and series that I take forever before I get to the next book. And I think that partly stems from when I was younger, before I had a job and stuff, that I didn't always get the next book in the series right away, and then I wouldn't get to it right away. But I was always jumped on the chance to get it when I went to the bookstore. So that is my white cover prompt for Lumus Maximus, the Charms prompt. Okay, and next is Herbology prompt, which is Mimbus Mimbletonia, and I do not remember what book they brought that plant brought up, but I remember them mentioned at some point the plant is mentioned. Mimble, like they're working on. It might be the fourth book, Goblet of Fire. Because I think it might have been like when Professor Grubbly Plank, Grubbly Plank was substitute for Magical Creatures when Hagrid in the fourth book, he was very, he got dumped by, what's her name? The giantess, the Madame Maxine. She got all weird about him saying that he recognized her giant blood. But no, so I was thinking her because Jim Dale's voice for her and for their herbology professor, whose name escapes me at the moment, they sound a little similar. But then, it's one narrator, so yeah, some of the voices are going to sound a little similar. So you pick a book that's a title that starts with M, not I, because and she says something in her video at the bottom, in the part when they have like all the Dropbox, all the notes and stuff, that I guess it does look like an I, but the letter she used, it's an M. So for that one, I picked, and this is another new book, and a year-old book, and that is The Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen. And this was one of those situations where, like, I heard a reviewer talking about how much they didn't like and how they were disappointed, and then I had already bought the book and spent the money, because most of the time I buy a lot of my books from Books A Million, because my used bookstore that's with walking distance in the library do not have the biggest selections. So, which I've already said, but I always say that in my videos, but it's the truth. And I guess I'm getting a little way of defending myself on spending the money I spend when I go to Books A Million. But so I had already spent the money, and someone said, a booktuber that I like, and so I was like, dang it, really? And again, I know you guys aren't gonna the other booktubers on here are not dictating my reading. Like, I know that it's just their opinion. I can get whatever books I want. I can read whatever books I want. So it makes me even more determined to love this book, to read this book and love this book. And in the truth, I am a book slut, so I will like any book I buy, as long, or, borrow, well, more, actually buy, because there's no guarantee I'm going to like all the books that I borrow. But, yeah, I say slut, because I'm very easy, I love every book, or at least like every book I buy, so, in that I eventually read. I'm easy. But from what I remember, this one is about, like, a caste system that is made of, like, people are birds. They're labeled as birds. Like, the people that have magic are, like, phoenixes, for instance. And I don't remember what the crows are. I'm looking at the... Okay, so the crows are like the lower class. They're kind of like the ska in Mistborn. I'm so glad I remember that because sometimes I think about these things, but then I can't remember the terms. Which I think I did that a few minutes ago in this video. And this one has a map. I think that's really cool. I agree with Daniel Green. Maps are cool. I just don't take the time to actually look at them like he does. But, let me see if there's anything on if this is a blank hardback or, dang it. Well, there is an imprint of you can't really see it via you can kind of see it a little bit. I don't like that. They need to make it stand out. It should have been like gold or something. They should have made the or red. Yeah, make it like this part. This is all red. Which I wonder if that's supposed to be like flames or something, like fire. They can make it red, but I don't like blank hardbacks. That's why I never take dust jackets off. If it's not a blank hardback, like for instance, what Nikolai's book, or well, it's not technically Nikolai's book. So that's what people got mad about, is because it was advertised as Nikolai's book, and he's not. And yeah, he's in there and he plays a big part in it, but it's also Zoya Nina's book. But I can't think what it's called. I can't think of it. I like how that one was not a naked hardback. Like I think it had like the crest of Nikolai's family line or something. I thought I really appreciate that, but I want more publishers to do that, to not make naked hardbacks, to actually put something, or at least like put something that you can see. If you don't want to put a whole bunch of stuff, then put one thing that you can at least see, not like this where you can barely see it. I mean, I'll be able to see it, but because I know it's there, but I mean, I want something that you can actually, that everybody can see, that stands out. Like, maybe a red crow on there or something, or like a black crow even. Although, no, red would stand out more, like, so yeah, give like a red crow on the naked hardback. That would be really cool. Okay, so the last prompt is Potions, Shrinking Solution, a book under 150 pages, and I don't know if this is actually that, but I need to read this graphic novel anyway, and that is volume 4 of Jokes and Riddles, and when I say I need to read it, I don't mean I've read the other graphic novels. I have not. I've not read any of the other volumes of this. I just feel like it's one of these things where, I mean, first of all, it was my friend that kind of helped me pick it out. A friend as in Terry. Terry Johnson helped me pick it out. And I don't think she realized it was the 4th volume. It was a 4th volume. She just grabbed them. But I feel like you can get these with graphic novels. Maybe I'm wrong, but for those of you, but in my experience so far, I mean, my impression is that you can read graphic novels without, like, yes, there might be continuity things and things that are referenced to that you only know the whole story in the previous volumes, or, what came before, but I feel like with graphic novels, like I said, maybe I'm wrong here, but I feel like you can still follow along even if there's some things. And I've, dipped my toes in this world, the Gotham world. I don't read the graphic, I've only read one DC graphic novel, and that was the Sirens one last year. I think it was last year, it might have been 2018. But anyway, and I like that, although I feel like with graphic novels, it feels almost a little, like, incomplete or something, like I'm not getting the full scope. But then that might be just because I'm not used to it. But when I said that this is something I need to read, it's something that I've had for a year now, and like I said, I want Terry to know that I do read the graphic novels. I'm not totally not into I'm interested in them. It's just not my first choice, but that doesn't mean I'm not interested. That does not mean that. It means that it's just not my first choice. But I will read them. And I have read some of the other Elf quests that she gave me. I read up to the point where our main characters, and the only reason I don't remember their names and stuff like that is because I haven't read it lately, but that doesn't mean I have not read it. I've read it. I've gone to the point where the two main characters, the blonde elf, the wolf rider elf, and his friend are going on this quest, and they run into first they ran into the trolls who tried to get them drunk, but elves have a lot of experience getting, they can hold their liquor, and I think it's the trolls get more drunk, and then they're able to escape, and then they run into these humans in this forest. And of course, humans and elves do not get along. They don't like each other. They don't trust each other. They're afraid of each other, and they just run into this human couple. So in this one, I think there's this whole war between the Joker and the Riddler. They're in competition with each other. And Batman is caught in the middle, and everybody else, especially the villains, pick sides. Okay, here the back says, when Joker and Riddler go to war, will Gotham be collateral damage? The Joker and the Riddler would seemingly be natural allies, but early in the Dark Knight's career, each man determined that he and he alone must be the only one to kill the Bat, and either would soon burn down Gotham that be beaten to the punchline. In the untold story of one of the darkest chapters in Batman's backstory, all of Gotham's villains must choose a side, in a battle of wits that soon turns into a full-blown warfare, complete with casualties and the war of jokes and riddles. Only one side can claim victory, but the scars it leaves will shape Batman's future as he makes the most important decision of his life. Dun dun dun. I wonder if it's something like to kill the Riddler or kill the Joker, or something like that. Although, these guys never die. Even if they kill them, they always come back. They just don't die. In comic book universe, villains never die. I mean, if it's a one-shot villain that they have not decided to expand on, and even if it's one that they at the time decided they weren't going to expand on, fans might love that villain so much that they might bring him back. They do in TV shows too. So yeah, that is one. So I don't know if it's less than 150 pages or if it's more than 150 pages, but I'm going to count it because it looks like it is. And like I said, it's one that I need to read, and these shouldn't take that long. I mean, it's a graphic novel, so just have to read a lot of pages every day, and not read it in bed because then I'll fall asleep. Okay, so that is the main thing, the main type of reading, the main reading I'm gonna do, but I also thought about doing, because I heard about I read all the other prompts, all the other class prompts, so I decided to pick at least 3 more, that if I finish those, I will get to these, and it's a month-long TBR, starting Readathon starting April 1st to the 30th, so I could potentially get to them. So the Defense Against the Dark Arts prompt is Grindylows, a book set at sea/the coast. Okay, so last night my first thought was I got all excited and reminded I still need to read this book. I need to continue with this one. Then I realized something. There's no way I'm going to get through this book and finish it. I mean, granted, I don't have to pass the class, but yeah, so, but this one involves, dragons and countries at war, and this evil dragon might be coming back to kill everybody, and one of the sections in the story takes place, one of the characters across the sea is training to be a dragon rider, and I think they're like sea dragons or something. Or something like that. But then, like I said, I realized there's no way. I mean, look at this. This is a brick of a book. Good smack, like Danny Green does. So, I remembered that I also thought about, if I can find it, where is that book? I know I took it out. Where is it? Where did I put it? Is it under here? Yeah, there it is. Then, I also remembered one of Kate Morton's books takes place at sea, and I've been meaning to reread her books. In fact, I started one of her books already. And I think you guys have seen it. The Distant Hours, which I'm obviously not going to finish that in like 3 days, unless I just read 24 hours, and I'm not capable of that as much as passionate as I am about reading. I'm passionate about other stuff. I like watching TV and being on the internet. So I remember that one of her books takes place on the Cornish coast, and that is The Forgotten Garden, the first Kate Morton book I read, and it'll always have a special place in my heart. Is one of my favorites. But I love all her books. And one day I would like to do a video. One of the reasons why I want to reread them is not just because I love her books, but also I want to, do a video on her, especially since The Clockmaker's Daughter just came out last year. And so I want to do like a video where I talk about her books, like do kind of like an author video. You know how there's some booktubers who will do author discussion videos, and they talk about how you should read their books and which ones are their favorite, and kind of a history of that. I'll brief history of that author. So I wanted to read this. So this one, like I said, takes place, like I said, on the Cornish coast. Half of the book, anyway, not all of the book. Some of the book takes place in Australia in the 1900s, early 1900s. So there's a young girl who is found in Australia on the docks in Australia, and the only thing she has is her suitcase and then a volume of fairy tales, and she is taken in by the dockmaster and his family, and then on one of like her 21st birthday or something, or 18th birthday, they tell her the truth that they kind of stole her, and she decides to figure out who her real parents are and what happened. But then eventually she dies, and she has to pass on this mission to her granddaughter, who ends up finding out the truth. And there is a garden involved, hence the title, The Forgotten Garden. And I remember loving this book. It was one of my favorites of her books so far. I haven't read The Clockmaker's Daughter yet. And like I said, I'm rereading The Distant Hours. So yes, I'll still continue reading The Distant Hours on and off for a little while, at least in April. But I'm going to focus on this one, because I think I have a better chance of getting this one done than the other one. I don't know how well I'm going to do with this thing, but it's just for fun. And what I might end up doing is just go read the books anyway until the Newts prompt and the Newts part of the readathon comes up, which is a few months away. Okay, so the next one I decided to do is History of Magic Witch Hunts, book featuring wizards and witches, and this is one I already started this month. It's still March as I'm filming this. And that is the second book in the Seven Realms trilogy. And in this world, the royal line is kind of under the control and protection of wizards who may or may not be evil. And our main male lead is a wizard, has just discovered he's a wizard himself. And he might be connected to the main villain, or he comes off as kind of a Voldemort figure where he's just or a Darkling figure where he's an ominous presence that we haven't seen him yet, and he might be dead. He's dead as far as they know, but he might come back through another. And I need to already try there. Excuse me. And I want to keep going with it. I want to finish it. So, I might read it in April. I am actually on chapter 8. This is one of those YA books where the chapters are a lot longer than I usually anticipate. So it's taking me a while to read it. That's why I'm only on chapter 8, and there are I don't know how many chapters. Let me see. There's 586 pages, so it would have counted as a tome. And there are 37 chapters, and I'm only on chapter 8. Yay me! So this one, like I said, it features wizards. So this is the prompt. So this is the history of magic prompt. I have very mixed feelings of that class, because from the teacher that they have, that class seems like a boring class, but then I love history. So as long as their teacher, if Professor Binns wasn't teaching it, then maybe I would like it a little bit more. Okay. And then the last one I'm still kind of struggling with, surprisingly. And that is Transfiguration, the Animagus Lecture book series that includes shapeshifting. Which, funnily, like I said, I'm having trouble with that one, but finding my book for that one, because, you never know what fantasy books might include shapeshifting. Because, I know it's a major thing, and a lot of times you're going to come across it in paranormal or urban fantasy. And I don't have as much as that, so but any of my books could have shapeshifters, any of my fantasy books could have it. I know that Kings of the Wild had it, so the sequel, Bloody Rose, might have shapeshifters in it. I was gonna, because this is a book that I've had for a while, I was looking at Enchantée, and not traditional shapeshifting, but there is a girl who has magic that can she ends up shapeshifting her face. She changes her appearance, she alters it. So I was kind of saying I could potentially count that. It's adjacent to shapeshifting. So it's not exactly that, but it's close enough. And like I said, it's not like the book roast or anyone else is going to come after me if I don't get exact. So I thought I could potentially count this one. Because like I said, she shapeshifts her face, she alters her appearance. I don't know if she 100% changes it, and someone might say, someone might say something to me, or might be like, well, tell me that she doesn't completely change her appearance, which I think is probably the case. But I thought you could be close enough. And plus it's a book I need to read. I've already started. I'm on chapter 16 of it, because this is how the type of YA chapters I'm used to, where the chapters are only a few pages long, unlike Cinda Williams Steinman's book. So I thought about that. And then I also thought about, and also, I said the magicians might have shapeshifting in it too because of considering, but it will depend. I don't know if the first book goes into Fillory or not because I know there would probably be shapeshifters in Fillory, but the first book, The Magicians is the title of the first book. I don't know if that one would, because so the first book I think mostly takes place at Breakbills. But then I've heard in the past, people, and one of the things that people are disappointed by, in fact, was that they kind of rush the schooling. It's not a book that focuses on these kids going to school and taking classes like Harry Potter does. Which, again, I feel like it was, they should not. I know it was a marketing thing, and I understand that, Harry Potter was so popular, so of course, let's compare it to Harry Potter because, these kids are going to a magic school like Harry Potter for adults. But it's not. I mean, I know, even though I haven't read the trilogy, I watched the show. Yes, they go to school, but they also go to a magical world, not just a world that is adjacent to ours, but that has magic in it. But they actually go to a physical place, like Narnia or Neverland. So, and I think the author did he was more parodying the Narnia books rather than Harry Potter with this book, with that trilogy. So, I mean, there might be shapeshifting in that, and there might be shapeshifting in The Magician Apprentice. I don't think there would be any in The Starless Sea, which is one I've been meaning to read. The Night Country might have shapeshifters. Even The Hangman's Daughter might have shapeshifters. So there's a lot of books that have shapeshifters that could, or at least potentially, have shapeshifting in them, but I do not know. So that is what makes it hard. And the one I'm holding right now, it's a definite that it does. Although they're actually werewolves, so they're not technically shapeshifters. I mean, they are shapeshifters, but they're shapeshifters to they're werewolves. They're not general shapeshifters. They're werewolves, and there's a difference. Not just that they turn into wolves, but I figured maybe this could count too, and this is a book I do need to read, and I probably should prioritize this or Enchante or The Magicians. Potentially should be a priority. But it's very hard. Because like I said, any of those books I mentioned could have shapeshifters. But I feel like I should go ahead and jump into this one first, because it has been a long time. And I said that, as in my previous video I filmed, I said that I needed to, I had meant to read this one once I finished Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy and the Bane Chronicles, and I had finished those last year, or earlier this year. I cannot remember. Time is so funny. And I hadn't yet. I got the, Lord of Shadows. I just don't have Queen of Air and Darkness yet. That one, I might want to wait until it comes out on paperback so the books can match. Although I guess it doesn't matter, because I think what I'm doing with Cassandra Clare books is I'm reading them and maybe keeping them for a little bit, but I'm gonna donate them to Givens or the other bookstore in the other town. Although I can't do that right now because, well, you can't leave the house because of the stupid virus. But it's okay, because I haven't even read this book yet, but either way, I think I need to read this one. I love the spines in the new spines that she has on her books. I think they're so cool with the whole picture, black and white picture, or sketch, or whatever you want to call it. I think that's so cool. So I might read that one. I mean, I really should prioritize it. But I do not know. I mean, any of those fantasy books I mentioned, could potentially have shapeshifting in it. And that's why I'm having trouble. But the good news with those prompts is I don't have to do them. They don't apply to the job I want. So it's just more like, because this is a month-long readathon, I only have to read 4 books. I potentially start some of those. And like I said, these might end up going into May as well, because I think there's a few months in between the NEWTs in the OWLs. So, So yeah, wish me luck on that. I hope I can do it. I don't know, but I do need to get some other books read first. Like I started reading The Sundog. I'm still getting pretty much into this one. I just read another chapter. I want to read as much as I can this weekend of The Sundog, even whether I finish it or not. Because again, when I go to work, I only can get through like a page or two during my break. And then I'm determined to finish this one as well, my first modern classic of the year, which is the Tender is the Night, and I'm more into it now than I was when I first saw Arena. It took me a while to get into it, but I'm liking it now. It's still not my favorite. I still prefer The Great Gatsby. I mean, and the fact that I think the world preferred The Great Gatsby. But it's very interesting, and it kind of surprised me in the middle. I was not expecting what was revealed in the middle, the book 2, and I'm very close to book 3. See, I don't have much more to read, so I have to read quite a bit. But first, I'm gonna get some lunch because I'm hungry right now. So if you guys like this video, be sure to give a thumbs up, click subscribe if you haven't already, click the bell notification below if you want to be notified when I post more videos. If you guys are participating in the Magical Readathon, or you participated in the past, feel free to share in the comments below what you're reading or what your feelings on the Readathon. And I hope you are enjoying your reading, whether you're participating in the Readathon or not. And I will talk to you all later. Alright, bye!